Ekabo and welcome to another live stream of the Ifa Orisa Tradition discussion. And before I get into tonight's discussion, let me open by offering the Iba. Opwe nifu olorun, oludumare oba jiki, mo jiloni, mo ogun meriaye, iba ila orun, iba iwo orun, iba ariwa, iba gusu, iba oba igba aye, iba orun oke, iba baba, iba yeye, iba atiwo orun, iba she igungun kiki igungun, iba she ori, ori inu, pori atiwo orun, ashe, ashe, ashe. So tonight we're going to discuss something really important. We are going to discuss a couple of factors that helps devotees to differentiate between one thing and another thing as it relates to the Ifa cosmology. Because there seemed to be some confusion on the issue of what is cultural versus what is traditional. There is also issues on the modern Yoruba language and the traditional liturgical Yoruba language. There also seem to be some problems in understanding what existed before colonization in Nigeria and what existed after colonization. Not just with the language, but also with the culture. So before I get deeply into that, I want to sort of highlight some very important issues, one of them being most pivotal is the issue of the times we live in. All right? We are currently in the early phase of what is called the Age of Aquarius. We are moving very speedily out of the Age of Pisces. Many people would argue that there is no relationship between Ifa and astrology, but many of the persons holding that view has never taken the time to study what is astrology. Many think astrology is future telling, prognostication, horoscope, and all sorts of different ideas people have. But the word astrology is simply made up of two words joined together. All right, it's a compound word, or it's an interpolated word, meaning it uses different elements belonging to different words. Astro is the first part of the word that is Greek, and it relates to all of the celestial bodies, the sun, the moon, the stars, and the planets. Logic relates to the application of applying reason and reasoning to the things around us in our environment and how it is affected by the celestial bodies. So astrology is simply a study of the celestial bodies and the way that it affects our daily life. in the Ifa theology, it is mentioned as being one of the 8 essences of Ifa. So the idea that astrology is separated from Ifa is a fallacy, because the 8 essences of Ifa is what forms the foundation of the belief and the practice of Ifa devotees. One of the discussions I've had recently was one in explaining the cycle of the times. All right? The age of Pisces was a particular time frame. And within that time frame, the main mode of all human trajectory was based on belief. Hence, religion played a major part during the age of Pisces. The age we are speedily moving into, but we are still at the early stages, is the stage of Aquarius. And Aquarius does not deal with beliefs. Aquarius deals with knowledge. Aquarius deals with knowing things. So we are now living in a period where more and more knowledge is amassing. And people are no longer inclined towards just the idea of having faith in. People are now trying to know what is the truth. Now, one of the things that we have to be very, very mindful of and aware of is the repackaging of indigenous spirituality, and the same indigenous spirituality being sold back to us in the form of religion. I always argue that it has been that way for quite some time, because even when one takes a very in-depth look at Christianity and Islam, one will discover elements within the framework of these religions that were borrowed from indigenous culture. So now, because of the great expansion that is taking place in the minds of people, where they are shifting away from belief, lots and lots of our young people are looking for something that is sensible, that could be explained, and that to a great extent has all the markers of things that could change their life in a practical, logical, and pragmatic way. So one has to be now careful, because with the expansion, Ifa is spreading around the world. And many people, including Europeans and people of other races other than our people, are embracing Ifa. Because of this, one has to be aware that many would try to manipulate indigenous tradition, just like they have done with most other so-called religions, right? But one has to be careful in expressing the fact that spirituality and religion are not the same thing. They might be related, because within religion is some elements of spirituality, selected elements, but it does not make religion spirituality. Spirituality deals with ancestrality and divine revelation, whether we want to call it divination or any other name, or revelation. But the point is that guidance is provided to those who has maintained indigenous culture. They have maintained that connection with their ancestral energies. All right? And it is important for us to note that spirituality is rooted in revelation, as in ancestral revelation. True, a very important part of Ifa is divination through manifestation and also through dreams. There exists other means of revelation, but these are the three main elements that has always been a part of our ancestral heritage, culture, and practice. Now, I'm going to talk about something that plays a very important role in the times we live in, and it is called academic